Good day and God bless. So we are the group 2 reporter. So our topic for today is the chapter 4, which is the basic clothing. So the objectives of this chapter 4, the basic clothing, at the end of the chapter, you should be able to learn the following. First, identify sewing tools and equipment and classify them according to use and function. Use sewing tools and equipment properly. Describe the function of each part of the sewing machine. And fourth is identify the cause of machine troubles. Troubleshoot sewing machine troubles. Plan a project. Explain guidelines, principles in copying commercial patterns. Copy and cut pattern pieces carefully and separate accurately. So ninth is describe the characteristics of the fabric suitable for a unisex shirt. Enumerate fabrics which can be used for a unisex shirt. 12th, follow the correct procedures or technique in cutting and marking fabric. 13th, sew a collarless and sleeveless shirt applying the unit method and the step-by-step procedure in sewing. So let's dive into the lesson 1, which is the sewing essential. So sewing tools and equipments. It is very important that we store and know what are the sewing tools and equipment in order for us to craft or make a well-fitted garments for the person that we are going to make a shirt for or a cloth for. So first we are going to tackle about the measuring tools, which is it can be determined the magnitude of the body and the materials when constructing the garments to ensure that the fabrics are well fitted. So first is the tape measure. So this tape measure is used for measuring the body measurement of the person that we are going to make a cloth for, and also for making a allowances in order not too tight for the person that is going to wear that cloth. And then the ruler, which is used to measure a short distance and can serve as a guide in drafting lines. And then the seam gauge, which is a 6-inch metal marking ruler with a sliding marker that are used for to measure hems, buttonholes, and pleats. And then the hem marker, which is a man-made, which measures used to measure the hem lines. And then the marking tools, which are the tools that are used in order for the fabric to have a marking on that, and so that uh, the designer can trace the patterns of the cloth. So first, the tools that we are going to use is the tracing wheel and tracing paper, which is used at the same time or simultaneously. So this tool leaves a mark in the fabric, which is used to trace the pattern on the cloth. And then the tailor's chalk, which is easy to use, as this could be easily wiped off or rubbed off, and for the used for indication of pattern. And also the pencils or the pens, which are also used to make small marks, or yes, the small marks in the cloth, which also easily rinse off or wash off. And then the drafting tools, which is used to guide us when we are drafting a pattern, or yes. Then the first is the L square or Taylor square. So this is used to draw perpendicular lines, square corners, and divide measurements. So next is hip curve, which is used for shaping the hips, the skirt hem line, and the hip shape seam lines. And then the French curve, which is used for to shape the neckline, the collar, arm holes, and other curve modified design. And then the cutting tools, which are composed of the materials, the tools that is used for cutting, like the scissors. And these cutting tools should be kept in a room, well-mannered room, or well-organized room, so that we can ensure the tools that we are going to use are sharp, and when it cutted on the fabric is clean. So first is the sewing shears, which is a 7 or 8 inch blade, and the handles of that is not the same. One handle is larger than one. So why is it that? Is because in order for the person to have a best pattern cutting. So next is scissors. So it is a shorter scissors and used for clipping and trimming. And they have the same sizes. The handles are same of size. And then the seam ripper, which is used for reaping the incorrect machine stitches, that it is unavoidable that we sometimes make a mistakes when we stitch on the sewing machine. So this can be used in order to correct the incorrect machine stitches. And then the thread clipper, which is used for clipping threads and draping seams. Then the pinking shear. So it is a zigzag. uh, the the zigzag edge and are used to prevent reveling on raw edge of seam. Next is pressing tools. These are used to make a professional looking garments that when we press it often, uh, the uh, the fabrics or the cloth will be professional looking. And the one of the pressing tools that are used by the tailoring or the uh, is the steam iron, which has a wide range of temperature setting, where you can choose your temperature and adjust it when you iron the cloth. And then the tailor's ham, which is used in the pressing the curved areas like the sleeve cups. So the next is ironing board, which is very helpful when we iron the cloth, because we can iron it easily through that ironing board. And then the sewing gadgets and accessories. So these are small, but they are also dispensable and are very useful in sewing. So first is needle. It is a pointed metal which has a hole on its head, or which is called an eye, to carry the thread and stitch the two fabric together. And then the pen, which is a slender piece of metal with point on one end and head on another head, which is used to fasten two things. And then next is pin cushion, which is a small cushion to keep pins. So that is where you keep the pins in order to be organized and to avoid accident as well, because these are sharp. So next is thimble. This is a gadget used to push needle and to protect hands. Next is the sewing equipment. So the sewing equipments are the machines that are being used for sewing. And the first sewing equipment is the ordinary sewing machine, which is the traditional sewing machine that can be used electronically or manually. So next is the industrial sewing machine, which these are can be found in the factories, where when we have a business for clothing, then these are can be found in that factories, because these are heavy working machine, where like most of it 24/7 of use. And then the edging machine, which is used to stitch the edge of the fabric to prevent fabric thread from taking off. And then the portable sewing machine, which has different stages available and used for designing the fabrics. So next is a sewing machine has three major parts. So the sewing machine has three major parts: the heads, the cabinet, and the stand. And first, let us talk about the head part. So the head part, it consists of almost all the mechanical parts of the sewing machine. So as you can see, I provided a picture which you can use in order for uh, to follow me when I read the parts. So and you can visualize it. So first is the bed, which is the flat part of the head where the fabric is put while sewing. And then the balance wheel, it is found at the right part of the head. It is connected to the belt that controls the movement of the take up lever and needle bar. Then the bobbin winder. Used to wind thread on the bobbin, it is located near the balance wheel. So slide plate. So you can see here in the picture the slide plate, the metal covering of the bobbin shuttle. And then the throat plate, which is a semicircular plate beside the slide plate. And then the bobbin shuttle. It is where the bobbin and the bobbin case are attached to do the sewing. And then the spoon wheel and the thread guides. So it holds the thread in the place while the thread guides prevents the thread from knotting itself. So next is the needle bar. So as you can see in the picture, the needle bar is a metal bar where the needle is attached. Then needle clamp. So the needle clamp holds the needle in the needle bar. Stop motion screw controls the head of the needle bar. It is located at the upper part of the needle bar. Presser foot holds the fabric in place while sewing. And then the presser bar, as you can see here, holds the presser foot. Then the presser bar lifter, which raises up and lowers down the presser foot. Then the feed dog regulator, a tooth-like metal that moves the fabric while you are sewing. So a stitch regulator controls the length of the stitches you make. Next is the thread take up lever, pulls and pushes a thread to stitch easily. And then the upper tension regulator, which controls the tightness of the or the looseness of the thread. And then the last is the face plate, which covers the needle bar and the presser bar. It is located at the left side of the head. So the uh, second major part is the cabinet, which is the table and body cover of the sewing machine. So the third is the stand. So the lower part of the sewing machine. So it serves as a feet of the machine and it consists of some functional parts that make the sewing machine move. So there are three. So first is the pedal or treadle, which is controlled by the feet to make the drive wheel move. So the pedal, we know what is pedal. And then the drive wheel. It is moved by the pedal or treadle and it controls the movement of the sewing machine. It is attached the belt and the balance wheel. And then the pitman rod, which is a piece of metal that connects the pedal and drive the wheel. Then the sewing machine accessories. So the sewing machine accessories are first the bobbin, which holds the lower thread. Then the bobbin case holds the bobbin inside the bobbin shuttle. And the sewing machine belt, which connects the drive wheel and the balance wheel. Fourth is the bobbin winder, rubber small wheel rubber that makes the bobbin winder move and wind thread. So next, we will talk about the sewing machine troubles and remedies. So what I have here are the most common that we can encounter in the sewing machine. So first trouble is machine does not stitch. So the machine does not stitch properly, it could be caused by improper threading for both lower and upper threading and the improper needle attachment. So the remedies that we can take action is correctly and attach the needle properly and regular check the stitches. And then the next is the noisy machine. When we observe that our machine has been too noisy, and then we could find it or it could be caused by too much dirt and dust or lack of oil, and it could be the screws are loosening. So here is what we can do. So we should remove the dust, then put some oil and tighten the screws. And then the heavy functioning or not functioning, this could be caused by too tight or tight belt, due to tight belt. And then lack of oil also, and the dust could have been in the shuttle race area. So the first thing we can do is fix the belt to fit, so adjust the belt, and then put some oil and always clean the machine. And then next is the looping and puckered stitches, which is caused by wrong needle size or needle is dull, machine is incorrectly threaded, upper and lower body, lower thread is not balanced. So when we see that uh, the machine has been like that, then what we can do is change the needle, of course. And then correct the threading, properly connect and balance the tension of the upper and lower thread. Then the needle breaks. So it is caused by improper attachment of needle and pulling of threads. So when the needle breaks, then it could be due to not putting the needle correctly in the machine. So what we can do is attach the needle properly and balance the thread to avoid pulling. So next we do is project planning. So first we have to know what we are going to do and the pattern that we are going to make, and also the materials, tools and equipment that will be needed, and as well as the procedures that we must take. So first we identify the materials needed. So we have here a quantity 1 yard of line fabric, one spool of thread same color as the fabric, 5 pieces buttons, and we also have to identify its cost of how much it could cost and their total cost. So the fabric, the 1 yard cost 50 pesos, one spool of thread which cost 12 pesos, and the 5 pieces button cost 12 pesos. So the total cost, which is only one spool, the 50, 12, and 10 with a total of 72 pesos. And what we are going to make here is a collarless and sleeveless shirt. So second, we are going to identify the tools needed. So first, a tape measure, L square, French curve, hip curve, ruler, pencil, tailor's chalk, pens, pattern, paper, scissor, shears, machine needle, and hand needle. So these tools are already discussed in the previous lesson. So what we are just going to do is identify and get these tools. And then the equipment. We only need three equipment, which are the sewing machine, we can use an ordinary sewing machine, a flat iron, and ironing board. And then we proceed to the procedure. So before anything else, we have to take a preliminary construction procedure. So first is take body measurements. So you have to find a partner and then take his or her body measurement. And then after taking the body measurement, draft the pattern. So after you draft the pattern, which is this drafting of pattern will be further discussed in the next lesson. So prepare fabric for cutting. And then lay out pattern on the fabric, mark fabric and apply seam allowances, cut the fabric. So the next is assembling procedure. So over, edge or fold and stitch the side of the fabric. So this is where we put it in the sewing machine to stitch it, okay? So connect the front and back of the both shoulders. Connect the sides, attach the fitted facing of the neckline, attach the fitted facing of the armhole. And then fold the hemlines and hand stitch. So we hand stitch. Then make buttonholes on the left front. So the left front. And then sew the buttons to the right front of the shirt opposite to the buttonholes. Then trim hanging threads and basting stitches. Then press and fit the finished collarless and sleeveless shirt. So pattern drafting of collarless and sleeveless shirt. So this is where we will be drafting the collarless and sleeveless shirt. So taking body measurement. So the body measurement are very important, and without the body measurement, the cloth that we will make will be useless because cloth is intended for to be used and not to be displayed only. So the measurements needed. So what we need to measure is the shirt length and from the nape bone down to the desired length. Next is the waist length, taken from the nape bone to the level of the waist. So this is intended for the waist fitted garments. When you want that, then you measure the only in the waist. Then next is shoulder scale, shoulder width, which is taking the tip of the shoulder to the other tip. So as you can see here in the picture, the uh, your partner or the person that wants to have his measurement at his back, so at the tip here and then here, you have to measure that. Then the breast scale, taking around the fullest part of the body, the breast line with two finger inserted and holding the tape measurement. So you have to measure the measuring tape here, then the measuring tape. So you put it together and then here, two finger inside while holding. Okay, so that is how you measure the breast scale, and that measurement will also be divided to two for the breast scale. Then next is the neck, which is taken around the neck with two finger inserted and holding the tape measure. So the tape measure, as if there is a tape measure, then we measure it here, then at two also two fingers, then that is the measurement. Then the sleeve length. So taken from the tip of the shoulder to the desired length of the sleeve. So here, then the sleeve length will be depending on the sleeve length of what you want. If you want 3/4 here, then if you want a full, then up to here. So next is sleeve width, that is taken around the bicep. So the measuring tape, so here the measuring tape, then you round it up here, then two also. Then this is the bicep. And then the legends, where the FL is the full length, and WL for waist length, S for shoulder, BS for breast scale, and for neck, SL for sleeve length, and SW for sleeve length. Sleeve with So next is drafting pattern of collarless and sleeveless shirt. So drafting the back pattern. So A, starting point, square. Square both ways. Okay, so here, so A here, then here. So this is our A. So A, then AB. So AB, apply the full length measure. So the full length, okay? So from here to here. So here, then this is B. Then apply the, then square out B. So this is the B here. Okay, then AC, we trace the AC, then the measure is 3/4 inch downward. So in order to square out the C, we have to measure the 3/4. So since our A is here, then only 3/4, then here is our C. Okay, you can see in the visual that I provided, so you can follow. And then next is A to D. So A to D is measured 2.5 inch sideward. Connect C and D using a French curve. So the French curve, okay? Then here, so C, since we know the C, we all we need to do is trace the D, which is here. So this here, D. Then we came here for the F, okay? So A and E, which is 1.5 inch of the shoulder sideward, okay? Sideward here, here. Then the drafted, then A to G, which is 1/2 inch of the breast scale downward, square out G. And then GH, 1/2 of the breast scale plus 1 inch. So as you can see here in the pattern, we can see how is that letters are placed or marked. So G and H, 1/2 of the breast scale plus 1 inch, then H to I, which is 2 inch inward. Connect F and I. Connect the line FG to H using the French curve for the armhole. Okay, so after that, we were going to draft the front pattern. So after we had done that, so we trace the back pattern, okay, which is we extract the A, D, F, H. So that is very important because that involves the neck, yes, here, and then the here, and then our armholes. Okay, so A to C1 is 3 and 1/2 inch downward. Connect D and C1. So we after that we know that, then we just highlight it and trace it. Okay, and then next is a square F from line DF. So DF. So the DF, since we know that A, D, F, H, and C1 is here. So we square F from line DF. So DF here, D and F. DF. Then connect line F to H. So since it is a curve here, because this is H, then this is F. Then with a curve, which is the armhole. Okay. Then the trace front and back pattern separately. So after we already highlighted that pattern, then we just have to trace it, the front and back of the collarless and sleeveless shirt, and then it is ready to be stitches. So for further discussion, my partner Miss Pamplona will be the one to discuss the other half of this lesson.